Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Season 1 of Chief of War. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on Season 1 of Chief of War, just a quick disclaimer, I suppose. I don't plan on having any spoilers in this video. That being said, this is based off of true events, but again, I'm still going to do my best not to talk about spoilers in general, because this is history that I think a lot of people are not familiar with, and I think kind of the less you know, the more enjoyment and entertainment you'll get out of it. But again, I don't consider history to be a spoiler, but I don't want to sit and spoil anything or the outcome of certain things. So this is what you need to know about Season 1 of Chief of War. This is a 9-episode series that aired on Apple TV Plus, set during the late 18th century when the kingdoms of Hawaii were at war with one another, following a warrior chief played by Jason Momoa who travels outside the islands, eventually returning to face a bloody campaign of tribe against tribe. And you guys, wow, I really highly enjoyed this season. It was pretty remarkable, pretty incredible. I think it's pretty comparable to something like Shogun that came out last year. What Shogun did for Japanese culture, I think Chief of War is doing for Hawaiian culture. So I definitely very much recommend this show if you did enjoy Shogun last year. I think you'll get kind of the same thing from it. It's not identical, obviously, nowhere near as identical. It's exploring completely different things to what Shogun was exploring. But yeah, you know, Shogun showing Japanese culture in a very true, authentic light, having people of that culture, having the crew that is part of that culture. Yeah, this show is doing the exact same thing, having the cast that is part of this culture, a crew that is part of this culture, speaking the native language. I just can't recommend this show enough. It was really, really fantastic. Really, the only thing I could perhaps pinpoint to just kind of nitpick about, just to have something negative in this video, I do think it does start off a bit slow. I think episode 2, because when it first premiered, it premiered with like 2 episodes, and episode 2 kind of picked up and got me really hooked and interested. But then yeah, after that, it does kind of remain a slow burn for quite a number of episodes. But I think each episode, it builds and builds and builds in that intensity and the character relationships and all of the drama and yeah, these various different kingdoms, like how they work and how they function with each other. Yeah, all these characters kind of vying for power, essentially. Kind of like Game of Thrones. Just to throw in, you know, a reference to Jason Momoa's other popular work. I do think there is a bit of a kind of a slow pace at the start. Not that that's a bad thing, you know, not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, if you're having trouble kind of getting through the first several episodes, I do highly recommend that you stick with it, because by the time you get to the last couple episodes especially, just the emotion that you are feeling, some of the turmoil that you're feeling, there's just a heavy weight on you in the last several episodes. Yeah, and it all builds to this truly just wild and crazy intense battle sequence at the very end. I think it's well worth it. The slow build is definitely worth it for the insane ending alone. Now, here's the thing. I just assumed, heading into this show, I just assumed it was filmed in Hawaii. But no, this was actually not entirely filmed in Hawaii. What I found out through some of my quick research, a large bulk of it was filmed in New Zealand, of all places, which works. When I first found out that some of this was being filmed in New Zealand, you know, my first immediate thought was it's going to look like Middle Earth. It's going to have like more of this medieval look or something to it, you know. But I was quickly proven mistaken because, yeah, the look of New Zealand, you know, especially just the coast of New Zealand, that bizarrely enough worked insanely well for it to look like Hawaii, because it did. It truly looked and felt like Hawaii. Never once was I thinking, oh, this is New Zealand, you know. Now, there were, I think, a couple instances that were filmed in Hawaii, because I want to say when I was watching the behind the scenes featurette for the very, very last episode, I want to say Jason Momoa and then like one of the other creators, I want to say that they were saying that the final battle they did film in Hawaii because they felt like the proper respect and authenticity that they needed, the final battle really needed to be there in Hawaii. So yeah, my understanding is a large bulk of it was New Zealand, and then like a little small bit of it was in Hawaii. And then as far as the cast is concerned, this is a very large cast of Polynesian actors, various different actors from various different, you know, islands and whatnot, because there are Hawaiian actors in this, but there's also actors that are Maori, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from New Zealand, since I filmed a lot of it in New Zealand, and actors from Tonga, and then yeah, just other little random, you know, all this little scattering of Polynesian islands out there, you know, just a lot of actors kind of representing a lot of different places, but yes, yeah, still giving it that really authentic feel of it being Hawaii. And again, they are using the native language, which was fantastic. Seriously, whenever they would be speaking, the only time I would understand a word was when they would say Ohana. You know, thanks to Lilo and Stitch, I know what Ohana is, at least when I hear it. The cinematography of this show is absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. There's just so much authenticity to this production. It's just absolutely insane. Again, some of the behind the scenes featurettes that I watched, you know, they were talking about just little minor things that were so authentic. Like the like the tikis, the totems, those were very authentic, and they even got them like blessed, you know. That's how authentic they went with these tikis. They got them blessed and everything. Yeah, even their weapons, some of their weapons, because even though this is the late 18th century, you know, over in Europe they're using swords and knives and daggers and stuff like that. Over here though, the weaponry is a bit more primitive in some ways. You know, they're not using like metal. they're using what they have available to them. So yeah, they're using like rocks and wood, and yeah, like some of their weapons, like the weaponry, I love the design of the weaponry. Like there's like shark teeth on some of the weaponry, or yeah, even teeth, human teeth. Again, the producer of this show was talking about that they went very authentic with the weaponry, that they put human teeth on some of them. They were ethically sourced. Obviously, they were ethically sourced teeth, but that's how authentic they went. It wasn't fake teeth on some of these weapons, and that was just absolutely crazy. And I love that detail. You know, it's just stupid detail like that I love and appreciate to create historical accuracy like this. And just to go back to the language really quickly, because I feel like I'm kind of forgetting a little bit there. Like I said, they are speaking the native language in here, but as you do get further into the show, a lot more English is incorporated, because the characters do start learning a bit more English, but it still remains very highly, you know, the native language and whatnot. So yeah, you definitely do need to watch with subtitles as soon as you start this. And then I guess just to find one other thing to nitpick for this show, because like I said, the cinematography was gorgeous whenever they were on the islands. There is a part after episode 2, like episode 3, I believe, because our main character, Kaiana, played by Jason Momoa, he doesn't really get kidnapped, does he? He doesn't necessarily get kidnapped, but he's taken away from his islands. Some bad things have happened, and he finds himself on a vessel, and he and the crew, they head out to what would be the modern day Philippines, is my understanding, and he spends some time there at this other island. So this was the only part of the show when when Kayana is at this island settlement, this is the only time that I felt like it wasn't at its absolute best, because all of this felt like a set to me. It felt handmade and built. It didn't feel like natural to the environment, like it had been there for a while. So yeah, just to have something else to nitpick for the sake of having something to nitpick. Yeah, when Kayana gets to that settlement, again, it felt so much like a set, and it kind of took me out of it, to be quite honest. It took me out of it kind of momentarily. I felt like I could just see the backdrop almost, you know. And then just to discuss the really final epic battle that happens in the last episode of this season. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just to give you an idea of kind of the scope that you're looking at here, this is not a battle sequence that is like huge and epic in scope. You know, it's not like on the level of something you would see in Game of Thrones or The Last Kingdom or Vikings, you know. You don't have like this big, huge, epic battlefield, and that's not a problem at all. I really liked how kind of, not small necessarily, it's not like small. Me saying small, it might kind of be doing a disservice to this, but it's still a fairly large playing field, but yes, still nowhere near as epic in scope like you see on some of these like medieval type shows. But I liked kind of the smaller nature, the scope of this battlefield in particular, because it all takes place on like a lava field, and there's like a volcano, like you know, flowing away in the background and whatnot. It's pretty epic and crazy. But I think kind of this smaller scope in some ways for this battle, it made it feel more personal. It made it feel more urgent and intimate and whatnot. And I quite like that. It gave it this really nice, like, tight, clustered feel, kind of claustrophobic, as everyone's kind of fighting and battling against each other. And oh Lord, you guys, this is one of the most gruesome battle sequences you are ever going to see on television, I feel like. Yeah, Game of Thrones did some pretty gnarly things in their battle sequences, but I don't think they can compare to some of the gnarly things that was going on this. Yeah, because there's just, the violence, the sheer level of violence is super intense and graphic. There's just blood going everywhere, spears going right through people or through eyes or whatever have you, and at some point someone gets a tongue ripped out. It's pretty gnarly, because it got so gruesome at one point. I had to I had to kind of turn away because I couldn't take it anymore. I'm a wimp, you guys. I'm not really good with like blood and gore, so it kind of reached a certain point. I was like, okay, I have to turn away. Yeah, someone like got scalped at one point. Oh god, seriously, it was pretty rough, you guys. Yeah, if you're squeamish, the final battle may get you a little woozy. But again, because of kind of the more tight, packed nature of this final battle on this lava field, again, just I think it gave it a nice intimacy to it, and a nice close quarters, and I think kind of more of a heavy emotional weight to it. So just to get into the cast really quickly, I'm going to kind of be talking a lot about the characters. I would really love to see if I can pronounce some of these actors' names, you guys. I do apologize in advance if I butcher the pronunciation of character names, the pronunciation of actor names. I do apologize. But yeah, starting off with Jason Momoa as Kayana, I loved this performance from Jason Momoa, you guys. This performance proves what a fantastic actor I think Jason Momoa is. I think he doesn't get enough credit. And the thing is, I think since Game of Thrones, obviously, he has been typecast as kind of the big guy, you know, the big tough guy, and he's oftentimes pretty sarcastic, and he can make a lot of really good, witty, funny jokes. And a lot of times he doesn't play hugely emotional characters whatsoever. You know, he tends to play the tough guy with maybe a comedic slant to him. So yeah, he's never had like a bad performance in all the other things he's been in, you know, because I love him in Dune, for instance. But yeah, this show, I truly think shows what an incredible actor Jason Momoa is, and what he can do when he's given the right script and the right character. This character has a lot of depth to him and a lot of nuance, which I appreciate. And Jason Momoa, he gets some pretty heavy emotional scenes to work with, because he has his family, he has his wife, just other characters that he interacts with, and yeah, things are kind of befalling a lot of these characters throughout the season, and there's a lot of heavy emotional stakes and heavy emotional sequences, and I just really appreciated that the show gave Jason Momoa the opportunity to really truly shine and show what he is capable of as an actor, that he doesn't have to just always play the big tough masculine guy with a sense of humor. He can also play these guys who are emotional and really flawed and complex. So again, just all of the applause for Jason Momoa's performance in this, because it was really fantastic. And yeah, I think great enough, like when award season comes around again, like he needs to be nominated for award season. Moving on, we have Cliff Curtis, you guys, playing Kiowa. I really loved Cliff Curtis in this. Yeah, I think one of the only other things I've seen Cliff Curtis in, he was like in the Fear of the Walking Dead, the Walking Dead spinoff, and I liked him on that. But I loved Cliff Curtis in this, because he's playing one of the antagonists, we shall say. He's kind of the leader of another island kingdom and whatnot. Cliff Curtis, ooh, seriously, he can play a villain so good. It was so good, so captivating. He was just so chilling and terrible. I loved it. Oh my god. Give this man more villain roles, because he was great. And then playing another one of our antagonists, we have Tamura Morrison. Yes, Boba Fett. I loved Tamura Morrison in this as well. Very much just like Cliff Curtis, because he's another one of the big main antagonists. Yeah, Tamura Morrison, he just delivers such a chilling performance in this. He just has such an energy on the screen that you're drawn to him. He's terrifying. Yeah, other characters are terrified of him. He just has such an energetic, magnetic personality on the screen, and he's so hard to look away from, and you can see why he is like the leader of this other island kingdom and whatnot. So yeah, just any scene, seriously, whenever Jason Momoa was around Cliff Curtis or Tamura Morrison, seriously, just some of the best scenes of acting going on this show. Okay, moving on. I'm probably going to butcher this, you guys. I do apologize in advance once again. Lucienne Buchanan, she plays I have to say it very slowly, you guys, because if I try to rush it out, it's not going to make any sort of sense. It's going to sound gibberish, so I'm going to try to sound it out as best I can. Lucienne Buchanan plays Kahumanu. I think that's still incorrect. It is very, very incorrect, you guys. Let's put it this way. She's like, would she be like a princess? Is she kind of like a princess of like one of the chiefs of one of these other tribes, and she ends up marrying another guy named Kamehameha. I loved this character, because there's not too many female characters in this show, but yeah, the small little cluster of female characters that are on this show, they really do truly stand out, and they all have really great, unique performances. But yeah, this lady, played by Lucienne Buchanan, I'm just going to refer to her by her name, her actress name, because that's about it, all I can pronounce. I loved this character. She just has such a power to her, a quiet intensity, because yeah, she's still a woman. She's still a woman during this time period, and her voice can only go so far. But yeah, she's still very commanding in certain ways. Yeah, her husband, she still has a voice with her husband. Yeah, Jason Momoa's character, he listens to her and he seeks out her advice. And yeah, a lot of times people either listen to her or they don't, but she still has a very commanding presence to her. I loved this character. She was probably one of the highlights for me, other than like Jason Momoa. I really loved her character. And yeah, the guy who is her husband, he's like this other chief and whatnot. Yeah, Kamehameha. You guys, Kamehameha. Kamehameha, played by I'm gonna butcher this. I'm sorry. Seriously, you guys, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name, because I'm just gonna butcher it and I'm gonna feel really ashamed and guilty. But yeah, Kamehameha. You guys, that's about the only name I can pronounce, because they kept saying Kamehameha so many times, and I love the bounce the bounce and rhythm of his name is so nice. It just rolls off the tongue so easily. Yeah, I really loved Kamehameha. Like I said, he's kind of one of these other chiefs, yeah, he is based off of a true historical figure, because yeah, his wife that I just spoke of, she is a true historical figure as well. Yeah, Kamehameha, he's very kind of strong and stoic, I guess is the best way to put it. He's really strong and stoic, but yeah, he's willing to listen when he needs to, but he also kind of hesitates in times when perhaps maybe he shouldn't be hesitating. Yeah, he treats his wife fairly and wonderfully, which was great to see. Because yeah, if you watch like a medieval drama set during this time period, the wives are not treated all that great half the time. So it was nice to see like a man respecting and treating his woman good in this show, you know. But yeah, I loved Kamehameha. Yeah, his performance just so spot on, so fantastic. Yeah, I was always constantly rooting for him on this show. And then I do want to highlight Prince Kapule, who's played by Brandon Finn, and his character is like the son of Tamir Morrison's character. I really liked this character in particular, and I almost feel like he's going to have a lot more to do in season 2, because there's a lot kind of set up with him, a lot of directions his character can kind of go, and he has to kind of make certain decisions as things progress. But yeah, Prince Kapule, yeah, he was just really fascinating. I like that dynamic that he had with his father. That was really complex and complicated. So yeah, I'm really crossing my fingers in season 2 that he gets a lot to do. But yeah, speaking of season 2, because this show definitely ends in such a way that season 2 it has to come. We can't just not have a season 2 with this show, because there's still a lot that has to be addressed and finalized. So yeah, Apple TV Plus, please give this show a second season. The good thing about Apple TV Plus, even if their shows are not doing good in ratings, the thing is they still kind of keep going with their shows and let them have proper conclusions, which I appreciate. You know, compared to something like Netflix, you may watch 1 or 2 seasons of something, then they just abruptly cancel it, you know. Apple TV hardly ever does that. So I'm anticipating Apple TV will give this show another season, because I need to see where it's going, where these characters are going, because I really love this show. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on season 1 of Chief of War. In the comments below, did anybody else watch this show? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.